Our next speaker is from the Pine Tree Youth Organizing Group. She will be talking to us on the importance of amplifying youth voices in an age of uncertainty. So I'd like to introduce to you AlyssaThompson.
Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. When I was 9 years old, I decided to stage a protest over the great injustice I thought my dad had committed. You see, we moved into a new home and quickly discovered that we were harboring an army of ants. They took our kitchen by storm and patrolled every windowsill. So naturally, my dad decided to spray insecticide. At the time, though, I found this to be unfair and morally wrong. After all, the ants were there first. So I took action against our feat of colonization. Arming myself with a notebook paper taped to a stick I found in the woods, I stood at the end of my driveway, branding a sign and proudly declaring, "Save the ants!" It didn't matter that I live on a dead-end dirt road. It didn't matter how ridiculous adults found my claim to be. I wanted every last one of our neighbors to know about the ant genocide happening up the road from them. Looking back, I suppose this was truly my introduction to the world of activism. Sure, it sounds like a cute and funny story, but the real reason I'm bringing it up is to prove a point. From the minute we are brought into this world, this society, this culture, we begin formulating thoughts and opinions of our very own. I truly believe that humans are naturally thoughtful and deep and curious creatures. Children and youth are no exception to this. Within the last couple of years, I have blossomed into an articulate young woman who can embrace my personal ideologies. While I no longer shy away from vocalizing my opinion, my younger self certainly was not this bold or brash. But this brings about a valuable question. Why? Why did I wait 16 years to begin voicing my opinions on various issues? Why did I wait 16 years to take control of my future? It isn't because I lacked the worldly knowledge to identify some of the more complex problems within our government and culture. And it isn't because I didn't realize people express their ideas through activism and organizing. I simply did not know that a kid could be an activist. Well, a real activist, that is. One who stands up for more than ants. One who helps people and whose leadership can spark measurable change. It seems to me, generally speaking of course, that the older generations within our society have an entire laundry list of complaints about upcoming generations. Millennials are lazy, entitled, demanding, and impatient. We rely too heavily upon positive reinforcement. We fear adulthood and responsibility, are oblivious to world news, are too soft as parents, have no respect for authorities or elders, we behave too casually. Believe it or not, I even read an article explaining how we ruined the McWrap. And another that accused us of killing the napkin industry. And don't even get me started on how millennials are killing vacations. You know, those refreshing retreats that millennials just somehow cannot afford with their under or unpaid internships, astronomical student loans, crumbling economy, and vague future. Periodically throughout my life, I have encountered older folks who greet me as though I am the epitome of millennial stereotypes. I have attempted to engage in political discussions in the past and have quite literally had adults raise their voices to drown me out. A white bystander once asked my age at the Black Lives Matter direct action. Upon learning how young I am, she said something along the lines of, "Come back when you understand the world." Who even knew I would need to be a middle-aged woman with a college education to recognize that a racist institution is a broken one? To wrap it up, I find that older people often make harsh judgments about the spirit, work ethic, and drive of youth and millennials while simultaneously condescending us and dismissing our ideas. But the truth is, our society has taken a dark path littered with difficulties and drawbacks. As I stand before you today, human-driven climate change threatens all life and existing resources on Earth. The global temperature, the oceanic levels, and the parts per million of carbon in our atmosphere all continue to rise. Meanwhile, the Great Barrier Reef, our quality of water, food, and air, and the number of species existing with a stable population is dwindling. Racism and xenophobia run rampant throughout the United States. Blood is shed and war is waged in the name of profit and greed. International corporations abuse their power and take advantage of the underprivileged. Politicians, who are elected to work representatively on our behalf, bend only to the needs of aforementioned corporations. All of this, and far many more injustices, are the results of systems that were in place long before my time on Earth began. Granted, I am more than willing to recognize my own privilege and acknowledge that I, as well as all of you in one way or another, do benefit from these systems. However, my generation has inherited these problems. We are not to blame for their creation. The issues plaguing our society today have been passed down like a family heirloom from my great-grandparents, to my grandparents, to my parents, and now to me. I, as well as every other young adult, have been raised in this culture and have witnessed this darkness firsthand. If I felt I had a choice, I would likely choose to postpone being the solution and pass these problems along to the next generation too. Only, I simply do not have the option of ignoring them. They have grown too strong to continue silencing, and I fear that if we do not address these problems now, there won't be much of anything left for me to pass along to my future children. Although young people are not responsible for these obstacles, we are held responsible for forging a path forward towards solutions. I cannot tell you with certainty precisely what the proper solutions are, but I can tell you that these solutions will only come about once older leaders begin looking to younger leaders for fresh ideas and guidance. Together, we can breach this generational gap. Together, we can pick up the pieces of our broken government, society, and culture. Together, we can scotch tape and maybe even superglue those pieces back together. But we can never truly work together until the voices of youth and millennials are amplified and valued in the way older adults are. Thank you.